All right, I've invited Kim to chat to me today because you guys wanted to know more about bringing the magic in your communities. So Kim is someone that I know through the business mastermind that I'm part of. Hello, Kim. Thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Kim was meant to be my roomie in Italy in like a week from now. We were going to be at the live version of our mastermind, so I'm pretty disappointed
Yeah,
that's not going ahead.
yeah, me too. It'll happen again. I
It
think we'll make
will,
up for it next time.
but I'm glad we get to do this instead.
Perfect.
And this is kind of, I guess this is a common thing that everyone is struggling with right now. All the plans that we had in our regular life have changed. All the way we used to run our business is changing or changed already. And we're trying to all do things online like this. A lot of us are used to video conferencing and running businesses online. A lot of us aren't. So today I want to talk about people who maybe are less familiar with running a business online and keeping a community engaged and keeping their customers interested and nurturing those relationships that they might be used to nurturing offline, and doing that in a way through Facebook groups or through whatever other sort of community they might be able to create in a digital world. So you're the person to speak to about that, I hear, because you're a bit of an advocate. I've seen all your posts about Facebook groups. So just tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, my name's Kim. I'm Kim Cullen, and I'm social media savvy during the day, and at night I'm just a regular tired mum. I'm a social media manager, but I specialise in communities, especially Facebook groups. I absolutely love them. I love the connections you can make from them, and I started my whole business, even though I'm on so many different platforms now. I started off through Facebook groups, and my business name is Designed to Network, and I thought that fitted in quite well, and it stuck. So yeah, that's just me.
Awesome, thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with growing communities or nurturing them?
Well, when I started off, I'm just going to put that on do not disturb. Sorry, there you go.
That's
Yeah, so
okay.
when I started off helping a friend just create engagement in her group because she was so busy growing her business. She didn't have time for a Facebook group, but she knew she wanted one. And at this point, I was like, okay, let's do this. And I literally just went into her group, started making friends, started answering the questions, and I genuinely loved doing that. So then I thought, okay, can I help someone else do this? Or is this just a fluke that it's just one group? Then I started helping another friend, and then it went on a bit more. And to the point where I started, right, I can put different tactics in place, different strategies in place to actually help these people grow their group, nurture their group, therefore leading to an increase in sales. And I thought, oh, okay, light bulb moment, I'll get doing with that. And that's what I did. You know, I studied different kind of tactics that you could do. I tested out so many. I failed a lot. I won a lot. So yeah, that's how I started. And then I started to take on clients and had some great results from that. And I'm here where I am now.
But I love that. So it's not a one-hit wonder. You kind of found a formula to it, and you found things that you could say they're tried and tested, and you know that. Could you say that? Could you say that you know something's going to hit when you try it in a group, or is there still a room for, I guess getting to know a new audience, or yeah, is there variation people can expect once they start managing their group?
Yeah, not every Facebook group is the same. You know, the only thing consistent about Facebook groups is that you have to nurture your members and you have to keep them interested and engaged. That's the only consistent thing. But whereas what works in case of posts or any tactics or any strategies that go on there, they vary. And for you to know that, you need to know what your audience wants from that group. They need to know why they're there. What are you providing? What's their pain points? So that goes for every group. It's different in that respect.
I think that's key, right? That's, I guess, key for running a successful business in general, and your inbound marketing as well. Also, yeah, you're attracting leads because you need to know what they're looking for, what their pain points are, what they want from you.
Yeah,
So that
absolutely.
same carries through to group. That makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about recreating the culture. So this is one of the biggest questions I think people have, at least in my audience, in our listeners today, because someone who used to be perhaps an offline business owner, someone who's used to a bricks and mortar venue, in a lot of the cases of the people that I work with, that's fitness, acrobatics and yoga and things where people are actually, there's a lot of endorphins and there's adrenaline and there's a vibe in the room and everything. And the culture, the community culture they build in their business and their brand extends outside the classroom. So they've got the lobby and the waiting room and stuff, but they've got events that they hold on the weekends, or they've got show nights and stuff to look forward to. So right now, while we're all, I guess, in lockdown and we're having to try to recreate a lot of that excitement online, what are ways that we can bring the magic?
It's going to be different regardless, because at the end of the day, you're going from a physical building to meeting physical people, to hugging them, shaking hands, to this online where you can't do any of that. So it's important to know that there is a difference. You can't exactly recreate it, because if you try and recreate it to the point, it's probably not going to work, because you just need to change things around. But in order to keep that
experiment with like a different kind of connection, or
yeah, you have to, because as much as people are going to say, oh, it's just the same thing, but it's online, it's actually not the same thing, but it only takes a little few tweaking to make it the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think I've seen that. There are some communities that I belong to that really feel like I know the people there, and I feel like if I saw them in the street, I would give them a high five or a hug, and I've never met them, but they have managed to create that connection, and that and not just connection between the members, but I kind of feel like I missed a group, even like I want to check in daily and see what posts are there and that kind of thing. You're smiling because I think we're probably part of one of the groups of the same that feels like that. So what do you think, I guess we could use some of those groups just as an example in our own personal experience. What do you like in a group when you're a member? What keeps you interested?
The first thing I always look for to see if the founder of that group, the admin of that group, the person whose business it is, for example, is active in there. If that person exists at all in that group. Because as much as I love community management for my clients, they have to be present within their group, because they're the face of the business, and people come to you in a brick and mortar building, for example, business. They come to see you and what you're doing. They want you to teach them what they're doing. So if you're not in that group, people are probably going to get pretty fed up pretty quick, unless there's a genuine reason.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, if that's someone who you're used to associating the brand or the business or your offline experience with, and then they're mysteriously absent when you go online, then that doesn't really make much sense.
But a lot of that happens is I think is amazing. Something so simple like going live in your group, just to show them that you're making your morning coffee, it just shows you're human and you're there for them. If they walk in, like you mentioned before, being in a lobby, I mean, like that could be their lobby. So
I love that. I really do. That's something, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with kind of the example of the coffee, because I think that when I'm a member of a group and someone is inviting me into their world, literally, so I don't just only see them when they're dolled up and in their office and recording a training video or something. I see when they're unpacking their groceries and just talking about something that funny that happened that reminded them of something that actually has a lesson in it. So they're giving like a gold nugget or something in there. So yeah, I find those sorts of groups, I think that's what makes it feel like I'm genuinely as close to seeing these people in the real world as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. You've just got it spot on there. And that's exactly, and I'll be honest, I've had a really good clear out of Facebook groups, because some Facebook groups I was in, I didn't even know what I was doing in there, and then, but most of them, I'd say about 90% of them are incredible. and they are just so warming. And I feel like as a community, I feel like and half these people, as you know yourself, live on the other side of the world. But yet again, I feel I can go, oh hi, how are you doing? High five, like you said before. But yeah, it's so important to be you, authentic. I run my business and I live my life being authentic, and I love that, and it works well for me and my brand. So I'm pretty sure it'd work well for others as well.
Awesome. So specifically, let's talk activities, things that can go on in groups, because we do see, I guess, if someone was to Google how to, I guess, nurture a Facebook group, they're going to see suggestions like have theme days, you know, have prompts for conversation, you know, just try to keep engagement up in the group. So can we talk about that? Like, what activities do you see working well in groups?
Okay, well, as you said, there is thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of information on Google. And I'm not saying nothing works, I'm not saying everything does work, but I do suggest trying different things. So for, like you just mentioned, trying the theme days. If they work well you have to give it a couple of weeks to kick in before people start realizing, okay, maybe I will answer, maybe I won't. And if you don't get interaction on that, then it's probably time to change. But other activities is I highly recommend going live, and something like come and join me for a coffee, or come and join me in a book reading. I've seen someone do, and that worked really, really well. And she's a author, and she also coaches people to write books. And she just says, who wants to join me in half an hour for a page of my book reading? And you know what? That works absolutely phenomenal for her. It works great.
Fun. I want to brainstorm some more of these things. So, okay, book readings would be good.
Yeah.
Join me for a coffee. I like. What else could we do? I mean, I guess in my niche, it would be stretch. Like, I'm just going to hang out and stretch. Join me. What else could we do that's kind of, like that, inviting people into our world?
How about something like the most funniest position you can get into?
Yes, or like a contest, like get everybody and warn them.
Yeah.
The weirdest
And you know,
position
if
that you
possible,
can go live during.
and if possible, just to create that little bit more of engagement and excitement, is there some kind of prize you can give them? And the people who are going to vote for the best one will be the people in the group. You know, say so something they can't. Yeah, so then you're all coming together, and like I said, you know, the gift can be anything. It doesn't have to be something that you use now. It can be something later on in your business, because then that still brings them back then on the business side.
So I like this. We kind of just like branched into, I guess there's casual opportunities for us to go live or create content in our group around our everyday life as the business owner, as the leader, having that presence, like you said. And we can invite them in for, I think, things that are kind of like the book reading one is perfect because she's an author and it's related. And the stretch one in our case is related for a dance instructor. But I think that bringing people into just your regular life, if you will, like walking the dogs and like, you know, come with me on my run or something. I've seen that working well. Even this is kind of a tangent, not necessarily in live content, but as something like an Instagram story. People are like taking pictures of on their hike and doing a quick FaceTime camera video thing where they're out of breath, and that sort of thing. It works outside your community to attract people and to kind of build your brand, and the know, like, trust factor we talk about a lot as marketers. That it's just an extension of that inside your group. So the more, I think, you can also go further with it. What you would be comfortable sharing outside on your page or on a public profile, you might want to make sure that you're in your best activewear or whatever. But when you're inside the group, those kind of like daggy PJ stretch sessions are something that creates more of a bond, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're talking about running and selfies, and I did a live video on my personal profile, which I thought was going in my group.
Okay. Oh no!
It was not pretty at all. So that was.
Did it get a lot of engagement? Was that a popular one? Of course it was.
Yeah, it hit really, and I thought, okay, I've got this.
And then,
brilliant.
sorry, I interrupted going over you, but
no, it's fine.
really excited. So you kind of moved on from these ideas into how we could create user generated content that's similar. So getting those contests and getting them, like giving them an activity, a call to action, like come and join us on this day and wear your most ridiculous PJs, or join in the most bizarre position, you know, see someone who'd be coming in live from upside down, not hanging off their bed or something, you know, that might be right for your crowd. It might be something that people would feel was silly and they don't sort of take the bait. So I think that can feel nerve-wracking for business owners sometimes, to put themselves out there with these ideas, like trying to give people calls to action and not knowing if they're going to get any, I guess it's going to be crickets, or is it going to take off? So do you have any tips for that, for people who are kind of shy in their own group?
In regards to tips, it is literally just try it. And I always say, if something doesn't work, change it until it does work. If something does work, don't change it. Okay? But you have to give it time. You have to test it out, because if you lose members from something you posted up, but 90% of your group, like, they're not your community, they're not your customers, they're not your clients. That, you know, that's what I always say. But it's, in tips to do it, it is confidence to do it. I'll be honest, because I've been in that position. Oh, what if this doesn't work? But I think that's more mindset of, you need to try something. It can be a simple question. It doesn't have to go straight into doing a live. It can be a simple question of, do you like red or blue?
Simple, exactly. Yeah, join our next call wearing blue. Yeah, I think actually you kind of have to train people to be responsive to your suggestions. So starting with things that are easy, and when we do this for social media management, like broadly, those sorts of questions like this or this, which is your favorite, and, you know, comment an emoji below to describe your day, or something that's an easy thing to do. So we're not asking someone like, reply with your favorite book from all time and give us a synopsis of why it's brilliant. Like, you know, it's just something that's easy for them to actually do. Start there. So things, I guess starting with things that wouldn't make your audience feel shy either. If you're nervous to ask, they're probably nervous to do it. So you I guess, build up to a level of whatever goofy your group will take.
Absolutely. I did an Instagram post, and we weren't sure if this was going to hit or not. It did, not as much as I would like it, but it did hit. She's a fitness instructor, and I think it was this or that. Was it press ups and yoga? I think it was. And the only question was this or that, and people bought this, that. Some had conversations, and I thought that was a lovely way, because she got followers that have never spoke to her before, and all from just writing this or that. So something like that would work great to entice the shy people out from your group and yourself.
Awesome. What about I think seeing other people jumping on the bandwagon helps. So when you've got some more confident members in your group, I think that especially in a community like the ones that probably our listeners are in, where they already have personal relationships with a lot of these people because they've been seeing them face to face, in person, in their business. I like kind of starting with a subgroup that I know it's going to hit well. So I might put up something knowing that, say, a bunch of my particular students are going to jump on it, and I might even tag them in and say something like, I've seen you do this before, like, why don't you start? And I think that can be really well too, like kind of seeding or feeding the engagement with people in your community that you know are going to respond well. And when other people see it happening, then it's easier to be the third or fourth or fifth person to comment than the first.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually one of my main tips to create engagement, is to tag someone you know is okay to be tagged, and if they've done it before. So that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
It has a double it's like a double, I mean, benefit, I think, because I think that if you're one of those people who gets tagged and called out explicitly, that feels fun, right? So it's like, not only are you doing this to try to create a snowball effect, but you're actually strengthening that relationship with that person, because you're saying, hey, I see you, you're good at X. Will you, you just, even if it's something like your shoe collection is ridiculous, I'm sure that you will be able to challenge, and it's, something about shoes. You've just pointed out that you remember that detail about them, and that itself has such great value in a group and keeping the culture and everything.
Yeah, that person is going to feel, I don't think special is the right word, but feel loved, noticed. Yeah, I think loved and something like that is too big of a word, but yeah, very much like, oh, okay, yeah, she does know that we exist, type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of,
and I think that's
heartwarming.
perfect.
It like validates a bit.
Heartwarming, that's the word. Yes. Because I love it when people do it to me, and I'm like, oh, don't start that again.
So what about more things like this then? What are things that they snowball? I see those games, where you can have some, I can't think of something off the top of my head. It's not like Pictionary, obviously, but it's like some kind of word sequence game where you have to comment something based on the last person's comment, or you have to guess something. So they put what the year they were born. I just tried this in my group, and it was fun. Like, just put the year you opened your studio in GIF or emoji form, and we have to try and guess. So do you have any particular more examples or ideas around that, like easy ways to get engagement?
They can be split into two groups. They can be easy ways to get engagement if people feel confident, and easy ways to get engagement if they don't feel confident. So ones I would suggest, like you said, the story. I have like an image. I've also done it in writing as well, saying something, let's create a story with just 2 words each and see where it leads us. And at one point, I think I had like 300 comments of this random story that everybody had just put two words in, and it had nothing to do with anything, but it ended up like a really silly one.
Did you set the scene? There's like Goldilocks going through the forest or something?
No, this first one I did was actually the first one I ever did to see what would happen. Since then, I have said, I think I was walking up Snowdon, the mountain by me. I said I was walking up Snowdon, and then I saw A. I think that was the last one I did, and then I let everybody else do it. But the first one I did, I think it was what happened, something really daft like that. It didn't mean anything. It was just for me to try and figure out what's going on. But that worked really well as the Snowdon one did. Not quite as well, but they worked out pretty well. So they're 2 different types of stories. But then if a person's not too comfortable, I find that math equations seem to get people going.
Oh really? Maths equations?
Yeah, not too extreme. Haven't you seen one on my, was it you that
like
commented?
Those little ones that are pictures instead of numbers, and it's like algebra done in cartoon.
Yes, you are an expert at these.
I can't resist those ones. I love them, actually. I do.
Perfect. Yeah, but they actually work well for people that are not too confident, but they know someone's already tried, and you don't actually know the right answer unless you know what it's about.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, when they've seen someone else try as well. So I think that really it makes such a big difference as soon as you start getting some people on board. So that comes back to the tag the ones are going to do it, or set the bar low so people are going to feel comfortable doing it, and then just see what your group will take as you build.
Yeah, because it's not all about creating in your group, like creating excitement. Yes, it's brilliant, you need that to build a community, but it's not all about business questions, or it doesn't all have to be about fitness with yourself, or dance instructor. It can be maths equation that has nothing to do with fitness or dancing. So that's good to remember in a group as well. It's okay.
Yeah, I do like to drive this point home sometimes, because it does more accurately reflect real life then. Like when you're warming up or cooling down end of class, like we talk nonsense about our jobs and our pets and the weather and whatever else is going on. So creating those conversations that are just, I guess, social, as opposed to them being, I guess, having some kind of extra purpose inside the group. They're not necessarily nurturing towards a goal or giving them a skill or service or anything. Sometimes it's just good old fashioned fun.
It's life, isn't it? You know, going from a building, brick building, to online, unless you want to build a business online, then just be the same. Does that even make sense? You know, be authentic.
So let's talk about then, if I think, does the approach ever change between someone who's trying to build a brand new group? Now, like I said, in this case, we do have an existing community, so at least we've got members already.
Yeah.
But the group might be brand new. They might have just set this up because it's kind of their first foray to moving their business online, or they might already have a group, but it might not have much activity in there. Is there a difference in trying to breathe life into a new group versus reviving an old group, or the strategy is kind of the same?
They're kind of the same. With a brand new group, you need to set the house up. That's how I explain it. So you need to make sure it's got nice carpet, aka cover photo, a nice description for the wallpaper. You know, things that's how I try and explain it to people. So it needs
someone
to be
gets
set
there and they
up.
know where they are, they know what the vibe is because of the you know, it's your branding.
So there's nothing worse than going into a group and there's nothing there already. There's no description. Like, okay, hang on a minute, who even put me in this group? What's it for? You want them to know that it's your group. Why are they coming into your group? So it's important to set it up right. And especially if you want to go into growing it later on down the road, you need to make sure that the names keyword optimized right to the top as well.
Not just the brand name, right? Like kind of more of a purpose-driven thing. Like the group that I'll be posting this in, Market and Grow Your Pole Studio, is the name of my group. Whereas my brand is the Heart of Pole, so I didn't just say the Heart of Pole community group. I said doing in here. So
that's perfect. But then when it comes to like getting some life into your group, it's kind of the same structure. Change your cover photo, you know, because that will just pop up in the group as well. And like, oh, this what so and so's rebranding, or so and so's changed that.
Profile pictures do that, don't they? Like on our individual personal profiles, when we change our profile picture, I swear that gets so much more engagement than anything else. And I guess the same might be true of groups. When you're changing the wallpaper and changing the carpet, is that something that bubbles up more than other stuff, perhaps?
Yeah, it's just to show that you're still there, and you need to, you know, you can change your whole description. It can say the same thing, but word it different, because that will help as well. But other than that, everything stays the same. And the reason that your group, not you particularly, but the reason a group goes down is probably because you're not being consistent enough with the right stuff. So it's just bringing that back up and retesting things, seeing what works, seeing if there's anybody still active in your group. But it also might be worth taking your time to message everybody and say, hey, listen, sorry I haven't been active, whatever. Are you still interested in being in my group? If not, I can remove you, it's no problem. Something like that.
Yeah, so direct outreach to the members. I like this because it does, it creates that personal touch again. Someone who was maybe losing interest in the group because they feel like you're losing interest in them, whether personally or broadly. When we step sort of back as leaders, then people naturally keep creating that distance, I guess. So by us sort of stepping into their space and saying, hey, I'm here, maybe that's a good time to say, I know that the group's been kind of quiet lately. Here's what we're doing now. Like, we're going to look forward to this. Keep your eye on. I might start tagging you if it's okay. It's the time to ask those questions. And like, you can, whoop, I threw my tea all over the computer. I do that way too often. That's terrible. So direct outreach to members. That's something that some people I find do feel unsure about. Like, is that too bold? You know, can I step over that boundary? What do you think?
If that's you, then no. But if that's not you, then I wouldn't suggest doing it.
So if you're not the kind of person that would normally strike up a one-to-one conversation with a customer in your business, then it might be weird to do it now. But
Yeah.
if ever, I guess, I mean, I think it's quite unusual for someone. It feels to me a little bit more personal than an email. But it is still something that I feel like once you're online, you're in someone's group, there is a little bit of an expectation that we're going to communicate. So, you know.
Yeah, it's sorry, I'm not saying don't do it if you have never done it, but don't be so bold with your words. So yeah, go into their inboxes. Sorry, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but maybe don't be so bold about how
and you don't make
things.
such big requests or something of them the first time you get in touch. I
so
gotcha.
just always be you. But you know, if you see these people regularly on Facebook on your personal profile, then it's no big deal, really. You know, but if, for example, if you're outside of the group, then if you're phoning someone, don't start messaging them. Or if you're used to messaging someone, don't start phoning them, kind of thing.
So kind of keep consistent how they usually communicate with you, and if there isn't an existing one, then start slow with opening up a new channel.
Yeah, because you've got to feel comfortable as well. You know, it's like you have to make sure they feel comfortable, but you have to be comfortable because it's your group and it's you that's trying to bring life back into it.
That's true. It's not going to be sustainable. I mean, there's something to be said about stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit and pushing our own boundaries. But if we do something that really feels out of alignment with how we would normally act, then we're not going to be able to keep that up. So consistency is key in a group. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that same goes with, sorry, going off a little bit, but with lives, so many people tell me, oh, I don't like doing lives. That's okay. At one point, I didn't like doing lives, but what I suggest is that you start off by just going live with your hands. So you're filming your hands. So yeah, it's not going to work with everything, but for example, if you sell a physical product, a small one, then maybe show them that, like, oh look,
that's
this is
very
brilliant.
interesting. So go live and say, like, I'm just packing up this parcel that I'm sending to a customer, or I'm just finishing off this paint or something.
It doesn't have to be, look what I'm doing in your face straight away. It's a good way of doing it.
Well, and this is still a little bit relevant, slightly off topic, but I like it. But going live, I do find personally a lot easier when I've got something else that I'm doing. So like your example with making the coffee. I see people going live while they're doing their makeup, or while they just parked their car and they're about to go back inside. And it just kind of has a bit of a less posed feel. Like it feels like a candid moment. I just finished driving and I was about to go inside, or I've just got to do my makeup and I want to share this idea. And I think that creates that comfort and that level of ease on both sides. The speaker doesn't feel like they're staring into a camera and getting all of the jitters as much when they've got something to occupy their hands, for example. And then that vibe comes across, and the viewers are comfortable too. So inside the group, perfect. Makes sense.
Yeah, because I did the same thing in my group, not with makeup because I don't wear makeup. But I was creating, I think it was a strategy or some content or something, and I thought, oh, I'll do a quick live. And I'll be honest, most of the time I just spent doing the content, but they loved it. I did have a message, I just totally forgot what the message was because I was showing them what I was doing.
Got distracted doing your actual work.
But that's okay, because my group is used to me. My group's used to me, for example, doing it live and the postman knocks on the door and I'm talking to the postman. That's me. They're used to me doing the live at the most awkwardest time when my daughter's here and she's like all over me. But they're used to it because that's me, and that's my brand is fun. But they also see the serious side of me as well. They know I can do my job. So it's brilliant. I love doing it.
So what would you, we've got to wrap up soon, so I want to ask something that they can take away as an action step. What's something that a business owner can do if they're trying to come up with ideas for what to do or post or share in the group to engage their members, and serve their members maybe as well. Because there's the fun side, but there's also the when someone feels they're getting value and movement out of a group, then that keeps them engaged as well. So what would you do if you were going to try to sit down for a client, for example, and brainstorm what you could post in a group and what you could try and get people to do?
I would do quite a bit of social listening first, and the most simplest thing you can do is ask your group what they want to see more of. I find that's the best way. So you can do that through a poll or through a question to get the engagement up.
So you'd put a poll for what do you want to see more of in the group and give them some ideas or something?
Yeah, you can either open the poll up to your ideas, so you can say more. You put me on the spot now, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm really bad on the spot. It's terrible.
So you could say funny, motivational quotes, funny. Do you say memes?
I see memes. Yeah, I see what you mean. So yeah, you're just so you can think of a bunch of things that you would be comfortable doing in the group, like more funny this, more serious that, or whatever.
More lives, trainings, things like that. Because that's important that they get to tell you what they want as well. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to just constantly give them everything they want. You can add other things, but if you start off with what they want, then
it's a strong foundation. At least if I deliver them this much, that's a start, and then see what else that I can throw in. What about I like to take screenshots or save examples when I see other people's content going wild in their groups. I'm like, why did that take off so much? Or that was a fun idea. Do you have a little folder of inspiration, or do you have any websites or anything you'd recommend people could look at for ideas?
I do it a lot with Facebook groups. So join Facebook groups that are relevant to you, to what your business is about, and do social listening in there. So for example, like I said, if you can take screenshots, that's fine, but you have to bear in mind the privacy of their group as well. Even if it's for you, it's still, you have to bear that in mind.
Information, so you've got to be careful what you're taking pictures of.
Yeah, exactly. But there's nothing wrong with you asking them either. Listen, sorry, do you mind if I borrow that? Or you can use that as inspiration. I always see there's one man that's on my Facebook, and he comes up with the most ridiculous, coolest, awesome things, like maths equations. He just does, and I don't even think he knows the answer. But I have no problem in asking him, listen, can I borrow that, please? And he goes, yeah, help yourself. So social listening would be my first step with anything. So find out,
join similar groups and keep an eye on what they're doing.
There's nothing wrong with looking at what your competitors are doing. There's nothing wrong with that, because you'll be surprised how many competitors you think they're competitive against you, which they are, but you'll be surprised how nice they are. And just pick up the phone, have a coffee kind of thing, So it's good to know.
I mean, I'm a big advocate of I don't know how you say it, but I see competition differently, I think, than a lot of people. And I think competitors, it's part of the circle of life. It's part of the food chain. Like, they're not the enemy. They're actually part of what they do actually helps your business, because they're out there marketing in the wider community as well. So it's like that rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And as much as we also do, then there is that, if we have a shared audience we're trying to reach them, and they only have a limited amount of attention and stuff. So I get that there is a need to stand out and differentiate from your competitor. I think a lot of that happens naturally when we do really lean into our brand and we really do build a culture in our business. Then that is what starts separating us from our competition anyway.
Because you can do the same. Sorry.
It's okay. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, you can be doing exactly the same thing, but you're always yourself. You're going to be different always, and that person will choose to come to you if you've made that much of an impact on them. So it's not about who does it differently if you do the same thing. That's such.
Yeah, exactly. And when two people are doing something similar but differently, they're going to attract two different types of people, or the same person in different moods or phases of their life or whatever. There's always a way to reach our customer or our market. We're people in the business of filling customer needs. helping people achieve goals, helping people solve problems. That's what we do in fitness and dance. It's about creating experiences for people and helping them with their fitness and their health and their social life and their all of these things are each of those needs gets broken down in different ways for different people. So you're going to be more attracted to a leader or a group or a brand that's going to fill your needs in the way that you need them filled, and then vice versa.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't fear competition as much anymore as I used to. I really like looking at what other people are doing, and it doesn't mean that I just copy it. You know, it more like helps me see like, oh, I see where they're going with that, but that's not me. Or, oh, what they're doing, I could change up like this to be like me. And you know, there's a lot of ideas out there in the wild if you know how to look.
And it will, with time, with testing things out and doing so much social listening, and engaging and networking with other people, you will find your own way through. You won't need to copy anyone else because it'll just come to you. Just use that as a starting point of inspiration. And there's no,
yes, use it as a starting point. Exactly. Take something, change it up, and eventually you'll get to a point that you can create yourself. That's how it's how they teach us programming. Like you get given a code snippet, and then you get told to edit a bit of it, and then later on you're writing code from scratch. So that's how life works, right? Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for this, Kim. I feel like we could just keep talking because I do have more and more questions, and I do enjoy just coming up with fun ideas to breathe life into groups. But we have another call to jump on soon.
We do.
Yeah, this is one of our communities that we are both a part of. Just quickly, this is an example of something that I think really works in groups as well. There's a regular staple. We know we always have this call at this time each week, and I look forward to getting on and seeing the familiar faces. So creating something like that that's a bit of an anchor in your group, whether that is a live session. I do like that it's live because people actually get on and you see their faces. But maybe it's just something that happens every week on Fridays. There's a particular thread and you all post your pet pictures or your scene for the weekend or something. I like that. What's your Saturday morning view? Every now and again. So something to look forward to that's consistent in a group. That's also a good one.
I love that. It's a bit different in my group, but I have share your, I can't remember now, Instagram page on one day, and I have share your Facebook page on another day. And they love that. They love knowing when it's coming because they get to show off what they've done on their page or what they're selling on their page, and they look forward to it. And it's only fair that I give them because they've been good to me. They're engaging in my group, their community. So it's good that I give that back to them as well.
It's a platform for them to shine. So why not see what we can do for our audience? What do they want people to know about them? Do they want to share their pet pictures, or do they want to share their latest trick progress, or do they want to share whatever?
Perfect. Tongues Out Tuesday is a good one.
What did you say, Tuesday?
Tongues Out Tuesday.
Tongues Out Tuesday. What's that?
It's usually, we usually get either, we usually have children with like that or dogs.
Oh, that's brilliant. Fun. I like that. Okay, so before we wrap up, two things. Any final thoughts that you want to share about people who are just trying to bring the magic in their community? And also, where can we find you if anybody wants to learn some more about Facebook groups?
Okay, final thoughts would be just do it. Just try different things. Don't be afraid, because at the end of the day, it's your group. You're the admin, the group kind of thing. So just try it. Just try it. You don't know unless you try. That's what I'd say.
Perfect. Just give it a go. And what have you got? Have you got anything anywhere people can come find you?
I do have a Facebook group, free Facebook groups, and it is, it'd be funny if I forgot now, wouldn't it? Social media business tips and tricks with Kim.
Social media business tips and tricks with Kim.
Yeah, with Kim. You find that, find me on Facebook. Yeah, find me everywhere.
Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
Right, bye.